One guy that I want to bring up that you met while you were back in Minneapolis was Wahoo McDaniel.
Yeah. Oh, I left Wahoo off the kind of. You asked me about the roster. One of the greatest guys I've ever known in my life. One of the greatest athletes I've ever known. And obviously one of the biggest influences of my career, if not the biggest. Sad ending too, but we all saw it coming. Really, Wahoo McDaniels was just a special kind of cat. For people who don't know, he was, and I'm glad to elaborate on it. He was he had the high school state rushing record in Texas for 12 years until a guy named Billy Sims, who ultimately won the Heisman Trophy at Oklahoma, broke it. Went to Oklahoma on a full ride. Was a three-sport letterman in high school in three sports. He, to this day, has the longest punt in the history of the Orange Bowl. Drafted by, I want to say the Titans out of Dallas. They were the Texas Titans, and played for them and played for the Miami Dolphins and went to the Jets. No, went from Dallas to the Jets. First guy ever to have his name on the back of a jersey. Shea Stadium, 86,000 people. Every time he made a tackle, the whole crowd would go, guess who? Announcer would go, Wahoo. I mean, it was that, and they had to trade him when they picked up Namath. They drafted Namath in '64, and they just couldn't have. He was that. I mean, Wahoo was downtown drinking at Mickey Mantle's with Mickey Mantle every night. I've actually been at Wahoo's house with Mickey Mantle, Lee Trevino, and Charlie Pride. Wahoo was the real deal. Played golf with all those guys in Dallas. He had so much celebrity, but they just didn't want to have him, bucking Joe Namath.
And even right before, well, I know he moved out of Charlotte right before he passed away, but even his last days in Charlotte, he was out there on the golf course.
Yeah,
all
or
the time.
bass fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see him for about 5 years, and I walked into with my dad for my dad to start dialysis treatments, with kidney failure, and I walked in, there was Wahoo. I had no idea. Yep. So Wahoo went through hell, but he was an incredible human being with incredible courage. But you keep that baby face fighting the whole time. But it takes a special kind of guy. First time I saw John Cena, I said, this kid needs to work on his skills, but he was wrestling Kurt Angle, and I'm watching this on TV, and I'm going, Jesus. I figured he's going to blow up. I mean, Kurt, they were bounced around for 15 minutes. And Kurt, is the immaculate conception of conditioning. Cena never took a deep breath. I said, I mean, that told me right there that John would be good. Because a lot of guys would get in that situation, and John's a big guy, phenomenal physique. Sometimes you don't see that condition. And John he drives me crazy. John doesn't do anything for cardio. He's that relaxed. That's a big part of John's persona. John he's an incredible athlete, And I always tell him, I say, you're never going to be the best worker of all time, but you might be the best performer in the business right now. Because, he's not technically the greatest skills guy in the world. But you would never know that. I mean, I would tell that John and I have talked about it. What he makes up, what he lacks in skills, which is not a lot. I'm just talking about if you take Shawn Michaels or John Cena. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Which is that's a bad example because Shawn's so much above everybody. But John never stops. He goes and goes and goes and works and works and works. And he's got 1,000 different, little things that he does that the crowd stays with him. And I mean, John's a different kind of cat. And John can drink and party. He's a good guy. He represents our business right now as good as anybody I've ever seen. And I tell him that. I said it at the Hall of Fame. He represents our business. He's got class. He's very well spoken. He works his ass off day in and day out. Unselfish. He represents our business very well.
I find it interesting that you talk about John Cena as one of the best representatives in this business because he's so different than you.
Yeah. But he's really not. You just don't know it. See, that's what you don't understand, Michael. There's two sides of John Cena.
No, of course I'm talking merely about an in-ring performer. There's a lot of purists in wrestling that they hate to see John Cena.
I know. Well, that's what I made reference to. He's not the most skillful guy, but he hasn't had a chance to learn that. He's been put in a situation where he comes and comes and comes, and he's charismatic and he's got a good rap. I mean, look at the roster. We haven't got much of that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I just I'm just I like everybody, but if you want to ask me how I feel about people that draw money, I only hate about four people out there that are players. I mean, the company, Vince is a genius making the money he does, with that roster the way it is,
Can you call anyone under Vince's umbrella anymore? Like the draw money. I mean, Vince is clearly the genius there that can put two guys and turn one of them hot.
Uh-huh.
Is there anybody on their own that could do that there? I mean, is there anybody? Here's a better question: is there anybody on Vince's roster right now that could go back to, let's say, Mid Atlantic, and you throw them in Mid Atlantic, and where you basically it's on your shoulders to draw money?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Who on that roster could do that?
Three off the top of my head: Sean, Hunter, and Undertaker. And I'd have to think it through before I said that, but gosh, I think what you won't want to hear, I think John Cena could.
He could.
Yeah, I think John is. I mean, we didn't have a lot of great workers back in the '70s either, but we had guys that got in the ring, and if you think about it, the word "great" is what bothers me. That word "great's" been passed around a lot. You know what I mean? I mean, gosh, I'm trying to think. For sure, Sean. The thing that is different about now and then is work ethic. And those three guys don't mind working hard. John Cena likes to work hard. I think Dave Bautista could make it under any. I think Randy Orton could. I have to think. I don't want to paint myself into a position without look. I could look at the roster. It's like I missed Wahoo, and how could I have missed Wahoo before? It's just the difference between now and is that the reception with the young guys, a lot of them, which bothers me, is that it's so hard now. It isn't hard at all. You got guaranteed money. You're flying. And the European tours, you're staying in the best hotels money can buy. You're riding on the kind of buses that Mick Jagger rides around on, right? You're working hard. You're eating the best food money can buy. How hard is that? You're gone for 10 days. Wow. Get over it. You know what I mean? There's nothing hard about it. Everybody's got 40 cell phones you can call home. Nobody knows. It's just. There's not a lot that have that problem, but there are a few that. And the other thing is too. Is that I like about Sean and Hunter and Mark and our Undertaker and guys like that, John Cena. They don't look at the internet to see how they're doing. They know how they're doing. Roddy Piper's the greatest line. I've never watched myself on TV. Why would you watch? You know what you did. I never asked anybody. I never asked anybody about how I had a match in my life after 1976 until 1989. When I started second guessing myself because I heard it going, maybe I don't have what I thought I had. But that was just my own shit.